Everyone knows someone who's incredibly talented, but somehow never gets promoted. So, what is it that really separates these people who reach leadership positions from those who spend decades in middle management?
The biggest career mistake people make is they say, I'm very good in my job. And if I keep doing my job very well, at some stage I'll get promoted to the next level and next level. Pay for performance, but promote for potential. If you really want to get promoted, you have to start showing the skills needed at the next level. Hard work ke saath, finally what matters is impact. Have you created an impact? This person is a very good manager, but not really ready to be a VP. Sara context aapko malum hai, but somebody else.
What could be the red flags that if you are an interviewer, that you would immediately pick out and decide that this person is not ready for that a senior role?
A good CV is not a statement of your activities. How do I know you were a good vice president, or how do you know you're a good director? So wo jo good ke liye pehle kehte the car model, context, action, result. What was the context? What was the action you took? People's self-assessment is 30 to 40% higher than the same person's assessment by everyone else. The worst thing you can do when you're not getting promoted is to leave that company, go somewhere else. See, people are blind to their own blind spots, right? वो क्या था, गालिब कहते थे, उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करता रहा. The myth is that leadership is about aggression and super confidence and telling everyone what to do.
Everyone knows someone who's incredibly talented, but somehow never gets promoted. Maybe it's someone who works really harder than anybody else. Maybe they are technically brilliant. Maybe they are even outperformers compared to their peers. And yet, year after year, they remain stuck while someone else climbs the corporate ladder. So what is it that really separates these people who reach leadership positions from those who spend decades in middle management? So today, our guest is the author of a book called Timeless Skills. He has spent more than 25 years trying to answer this exactly a single question that keeps bothering each and every one of us. He's been a CEO of large corporate global organizations, mentored hundreds of professionals, trained leaders across countries, spoken on TEDx stages, served on boards of premier institutions like IIM, and built one of India's most respected knowledge platforms called 99reads.org. His new book, The Timeless Skills, isn't another productivity book or another leadership theory. Instead, it's an attempt to identify the invisible skills that actually determine the long-term career of success of a person. Skills that are rarely appearing on job descriptions, but often decides who becomes a CEO and who doesn't. Today, we are going to go beyond this book. We are going to understand the author's journey. We are going to be understanding the skills. What are these timeless skills that he is talking about? And is it in some way or the other going to help us in our career going forward? Welcome on board, Nishant Saxena. How are you? And how is it being in Delhi, flying all the way from Dubai?
Hot, tiring. Lot of traffic, but it's okay.
Yeah, hot, but we're living in Dubai, so I think it's better here.
That's hotter. Yeah.
So, what are you here for this time? Is it a complete business deals, or what are you here for?
Meeting with the government.
Interesting. Okay. So diving right into our questions, because when I was reading your book, there were multiple places where even I got stuck, because I have approximately 10 years of work experience, the so-called. I've been across different industries, but then like everybody else, there are a lot of questions that keeps poking in the back of your head, because it's not just you, right? Okay, maybe I'm not somebody who's interested in working in MNCs, but I do have peers and we talk. All of us talk, especially your college friends, right? So one biggest or the important questions that actually always keep coming across is, like I said in the intro, there are people who work really hard, but these same people get stuck in the middle management, while some people with equal good, similar talent, they climb the corporate ladder, they become CXOs. What is that X factor that goes missing?
I doubt there's any one X factor.
Yeah.
First, what you say, Naghma, is the reality.
Yeah.
Most people get stuck somewhere in the middle management. They don't go up. What differentiates? That's the book. We did this whole research on why some people reach the CXO, others don't. The biggest career mistake people make is they say, I'm very good in my job. And if I keep doing my job very well, at some stage I'll get promoted to the next level and next level.
True, exactly.
It doesn't happen like that, because in my first company, Procter & Gamble, there was this kahawat that pay for effort, pay for performance, but promote for potential. तो आपका performance बहुत अच्छा है, तो आपको अच्छी salary, अच्छा bonus मिलेगा. But if you really want to get promoted, you have to start showing the skills needed at the next level. Now, skills at the next level, people don't learn those skills because they are doing just so good at the current level. So if you really want to get promoted to the next level and the next level and the next level, start thinking what are the incremental skills needed at those levels.
Someone recently was just telling me, I mean, in a very simple way, I don't even know, he might actually have been taunting me also. Somebody who's telling that they have 8, 9, 10 years of work experience doesn't mean that you've been doing well. It's a simple criteria to judge whether the job that you pick up, can you do it by yourself or do you still need mentoring? If you know that you can completely do it by yourself or even make the decisions, I don't mean without a team, but with a team, but can you actually think for the bigger scenarios? Can you manage the team as well as make sure the right decisions are made? Then that's what a 10 years experience means. This is something that somebody told me recently. Is it actually like that?
Yeah, I would just frame it. Every year, make your resume and see, can you do much better? Can you create a bigger impact in year 2 versus year 1? If you are not making a bigger impact, if you are doing more of what you were doing in the first 5 years, then your role may still be important, but why would we promote you? So at year 10, hopefully you are creating a much bigger impact than you were creating in year 6 or year 7. If you are doing that and you have some great performance history, then why not be our guest in the promotion? But in real life, I'll give you a specific example. Just yesterday, I was talking to a purchasing guy. A good purchasing person will know all the parts that have to be purchased, what's the market price of that part, will know the suppliers.
Definitely.
Any fire, koi out of stock, he'll be able to solve it. That's a great purchasing manager. But if I have to look at an HOD, if I have to look at a CXO, then I need incremental skill. Then I will say, अच्छा आपने structures बनाए कि fire create ही ना हो. Have you created a backup supplier for everything? Have you created systems कि 20 people की जगह वो काम 10 people में हो जाए? Have you created a market benchmark to say बाकी लोग ये कितने में खरीद रहे हैं, हम कितने में खरीद रहे हैं? So all of that are incremental set of skill that I would expect from a CXO, but not expect from a purchasing manager. Now, unless the purchasing manager, वो जितना भी अच्छा purchasing manager हो, unless that person starts showing those skill sets, person will not get promoted.
So today in the corporate structure, do you mean to say that just hard work is actually overrated?
It's a necessary but not sufficient condition. So yes, you are hard work नहीं करोगे तब तो anyway निकाल दिए जाओगे. पर hard work के साथ finally what matters is impact. Have you created an impact? It's a for-profit organization. Finance is the language of business. There's a revenue, there is profit. आपके action से can you show us so much either revenue growth or so much profit growth? If that is not there, and I think we should ask that from ourselves just to keep score, just to keep whether we have arrived or not. I did all this hard work. I did all these activities. In the end, what was it worth for the organization? And if that answer is good, somebody will notice. If that answer is not good, tough luck.
Interesting. So how do, because yeah, even I can never tell that hard work is overrated. Like you said, hard work is definitely important. But how can one figure if their hard work is going in the right direction?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I'm repeating myself. What is the end impact? So, usually, what you look at the scorecard of not just your manager, but your one level up manager. This is a very important distinction. Your
Yeah.
manager can rate you and give you the annual performance assessments.
Yeah.
Your promotion decisions will most likely be taken by a person at least one level up,
Yeah.
if not two levels up,
Yeah.
your manager.
Yeah.
Then you look at that person's scorecard. Uska kuch ek scorecard hoga, kuch KRA hoga. See how you have impacted that person's scorecard. Not just the activity, not just the hard work.
Yeah.
Okay, the organization had this scorecard and I am contributing to that scorecard and I have actually positively influenced that scorecard. Then people will notice. Otherwise, it becomes, you can very easily be like Kobe used to say, you can be in the thick of thin things. आप मेहनत बहुत कर रहे हो, रोज सुबह से शाम तक आप. In the evening, if you ask yourself, Acha, how much did the needle move? The answer is humbling.
Okay, that makes sense. So, in today's startup culture, because part where you're talking about, yeah, I understand the big organizations and MNCs have that. You directly do not just talk to your manager, you talk to your manager's manager. I think it's called skip interview. So these are there in all the big organizations that we can look at. But today there is this huge startup culture where technically the designations is more a fancy term and not exactly the hierarchy or the structure. I mean, it's going to be completely the senior manager or a director or a VP in a startup. When you're switching to a bigger MNC, is technically at a managerial or an associate level, right? So in scenarios like this, because especially in India or today's generation or the millennials like myself, a lot of us are working in startups and we do not have the structure. A lot of times when I read a lot of self-help books, management books, I get the feeling that a lot of the concepts apply to bigger organizations where you have that corporate structure which can be followed. I do know who's my manager's manager. There is a 360-degree feedback structure going in. There is interviews, there is performance reviews. But where I work, we don't. I think the only MNC I worked is Decathlon. I had all of this. The 5 years I worked in Decathlon, all of this were done on the dot. There were internal communications. But beyond that, in everywhere else that we are working in today, and in India today, a lot of us are working in startups. How do we figure? How do we understand? Whom do we go to? Do we reach out to people beyond our organization or within the organization? Then who? Because it would be 20 of us reporting to the CEO directly because there's no other people in between.
I would argue it should be easier because you have direct connect with the founders. Look, I worked in a large US MNC, Fortune 500. I've worked in a large Indian MNC. I've worked in an SME. I had my own startup. So I do understand these worlds. The beauty of a startup is that somebody very senior who would be in a very large position in a large company is directly there available to you as a manager because his team wouldn't be as large as a larger company. So you have direct access to somebody very senior, generally the founder, generally the CEO. Use that opportunity to say, what are the 3 big metrics for you for this year? Tell me how I can improve those metrics. Most of us wouldn't think like that. Most of us would say, अच्छा मेरा काम क्या है? No. Organization का क्या objective और काम में objective क्या है? Impact क्या है? वो 3 scorecard measures होंगे. उसने अपने their investors से बात किया होगा. तो that's where you should focus on. Talk to the founder, ask the 3 metrics, see how you can impact those metrics, and go to him after every or her after every 3 to 6 months and say, this is what you wanted to deliver. Look, I have helped it so much. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Maybe you are smoking dope. Maybe that person doesn't agree. So make sure you're both on the same page on this.
Interesting. So again, similar to this question itself, in your book, you were talking something called as the invisible ceiling that people hit, right? I think the way that you told me right now, it's applicable to startups as well as bigger organization. But how do an individual actually know when they are hitting that invisible ceiling?
When you keep getting people above you, and in your mind you think that you can do all that role yourself, but in the organization's mind they need somebody above you.
Okay.
And this happens all the time in startups.
Yeah.
You get the next round of funding and now the company says, I want to scale up.
Yeah.
आपके पास वो manager हैं, the initial 10 founding team.
Yes.
But in many cases, I would say in most cases, when the funding comes, then you would get somebody else from outside.
Of course.
Why? You know the context much better. Why didn't they give you that VP position? They didn't because they thought, this person is a very good manager, but not really ready to be a VP. Sara context aapko malum hai, but somebody else. And now you can get defensive about it, you can get upset about it and cry and shift. And that doesn't help. Shifting and fretting doesn't help at all. I mean, if it helps you feel good, maybe do it 1 or 2 nights, but finally you have to accept reality. Ask yourself, an equally intelligent person who knew you much more than the person he's getting from outside, that equally intelligent person felt you are not ready. What are the incremental skills the new VP is bringing in or the new president is bringing in? And then those skill sets say, how do I deliver those skill sets? How do I demonstrate the presence of those skill sets? Because often you would think you are ready, but people 2 levels above you don't think you are ready.
So the skills that you're talking about, especially like the timeless skills or this X factors which differentiates you from that externally hired new boss, how is it, or let's say for example, based on the company size or the bigness of your organization, is there a difference in the type of skills that one learn on the job?
Yeah. For example, one of the timeless skills is collaboration. I would wager it's much more important in large organizations than in small. In most small organizations, I am one of the persons reporting to the CEO. That's the other person. The CEO has anyway a good understanding of the entire business. So the collaboration happens up and down. So this person will tell me what to do, and then I will talk to this person and give this person instructions. In a large corporate, it's very difficult. So then peer level collaboration is sine qua non. It's very important because unless each HODs, unless each CXO can talk to each other, organizations won't move. So collaboration as a skill set, especially peer level collaboration as a skill set, much more important in large organizations.
Okay, interesting. Now, as an individual, I have experience. My resume is really strong because the so-called titles that I had along with me in my job roles have been really good. So I believe that I have a really good resume in hand. And imagine a situation if I am applying to a leadership role in a bigger organization. What could be the red flags that if you are an interviewer, that you would immediately pick out and decide that this person is not ready for a senior role?
Too many flings, first thing, too many changes, too many 2-3 years stint. I think by the time you can create a big impact, it's at least 2-3 years, at least. If you just leave in 2-3 years, then the red flag I would be worried about is just when you were supposed to create that big impact, you left. क्योंकि पहले 2 साल में तो कोई anyway नहीं निकालेगा. I mean, they will give you a chance, they'll give you a long rope and all. So, if too many changes show that you have not been able to create a big impact in any place. On the other hand, the positive flag is, instead of just the title, titles don't matter much. So the title, it says, grew sales 30%, reduced attrition 10%, ensured cost saving of 15%. Those power words where you had actually shown an impact, a visible impact on the top line, bottom line of the company, or the parameters important for the company, वो सबसे important है. And a good CV is not a statement of your activities. अभी मैंने ये किया, I was a vice president. How do I know you were a good vice president, or how do you know you're a good director? So वो जो good के लिए पहले कहते थे car model, context, action, result.
Yeah.
What was the context? What was the action you took?
Yeah.
And therefore, what was the result to the organization?
Yeah.
If you can have this, 2 or 3 bullet points, 2 or 3 big highlights in each role, then your resume is very strong.
So, as an recruiter, would you consider people from smaller organizations, or because you're already in a big organization, does the people coming from startups like don't even stand a chance?
Yes and no. So, most large companies, as an entry-level screen, would look for credible employers.
Okay.
Credible employers is just a way to say you had to have a minimum level of competence. Otherwise, this large organization wouldn't take you.
Yeah.
Like my first organization, Procter & Gamble, it only hired from the IMs.
Yeah.
So, if किसी ने 4-5 साल Procter & Gamble में किया है, तो then you know कि the person will be reasonably okay.
Yeah.
This screen, I wouldn't be able to get in a small company, for an individual coming from a small company. I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Then
Makes
you are
sense.
saying कि अच्छा जो वो 15-20 मिनट का आधे घंटे का interview में whatever that person says, on that basis I'm going to take that decision. For somebody else coming from a large organization or by extension a reputed business school or a reputed engineering college or a reputed medical college, that screen is set. Basic level to hoga hi. Usse professionalism aa jata hai sab. Now, the way small company people keep getting hired is the best way would be personal reference. Personal reference matlab you are working for a small company doing this. One of your clients, one of your suppliers, one of your customers keeps seeing you and says, wow, this person is really, really good. Then that person has at the back of the mind, when I get a good role and if she's looking out, I would definitely reach out. Like just a couple of days back, I was in one of the southern cities where we had taken this big project with the government, and the local implementation partner there, that guy was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, knew all the details, much more than even our team knew, knew the technicalities of the detail, how does the machine work and how does the vibration. And then you say, okay, an organization will give an arm and a leg to get a person like this. That is the way to get noticed and the way to get hired.
Interesting. So, with people who are really successful, so now we were till now talking about people who want to get hired. Now, people sitting on the other side, people who are in the so-called successful positions already, doing well in their companies. In the book, you were also talking about the blind spots that one is having. So, why is it difficult for successful people or people in senior roles to actually identify what they are doing wrong?
Yeah, I could talk hours for this. People become successful because of certain good behavior and in spite of certain bad behavior. Those blind spots, those bad behavior, they start defining who we are. And then it's very difficult to get rid of them. Think about your own career where certain things so for example, a person at an entry level, you want this person to be fast, get things done. One of the ways to do that is to push everyone around. Everyone else will hate you, but your manager will love you because you will get things done. People, collaboration, that slows you down. But at some level, when nobody else can pick up the fights for you, when nobody else can ensure this different department level collaboration and support for you, then you will start falling apart. In fact, in one of the companies I worked with, the joke was that people who got the fastest to get promoted at the first 2-3 levels normally never make the cut to serious CXO position because the skill sets required, there are different patience, you need
does
create
it
an
mean
agenda.
that they were cutthroat and not collaborative?
Cutthroat is just one example. You would be you'd be very focused on what your manager is thinking about. That's easy when you are at an entry level, that one person manager's voice is enough to get you promoted. At a senior level, then you would see, okay, real organization impact kya hai? So you can't just talk your way out of it. So there are multiple skills where, so those blind spots. Let me give you an actual example. In all my roles, I get a 360 done for all my managers, including myself. So 360 में वो confidential 360 पहले मेरा होगा, वो मेरे chairman को जाएगा, उसके बाद नीचे का होगा, and all of that. In almost every single case, people's self-assessment is 30 to 40% higher than the same person's assessment by everyone else.
True.
And I think it's psychological. My daughter studies psychology. It is we see the realities of our life much better, so we are a little more biased towards us. So yeah, मैंने वो result नहीं किया, but I had my accentuating factors.
Yeah.
The organization wouldn't see it. The organization will say, "नहीं result आया," so they will give you average rating. But you will give yourself a little above average rating because in your mind you were justified. Why should the organization care about whether you were justified or not?
True.
They want results. So blind spots are very difficult, and which is why 70% people don't go beyond the middle managers. One last piece, a long-winded answer. One last piece. The worst thing you can do when you're not getting promoted is to leave that company, go somewhere else. See, what happens is our ego starts getting hurt. अरे मेरा promotion नहीं हो रहा, अरे मेरा manager मुझे like नहीं करता, चलो let's go somewhere else. But what was holding you back was not the manager. What was holding you back was something inside you. Unless you improve that, next organization में भी आप नहीं बढ़ोगे. अभी next organization to get your skill set will probably give you 20-30% raise. But then next year they won't give you that raise. Next year they won't give you. So I've seen so many people moving around the organizations, but at similar levels. If you were wise, you would say a career net worth is made over a 30-40 year career. The last 10 years is where I make 70% of my net worth. That is where I need to reach fastest. The CXO position is where I start at entry level 10-15 lakh, you exit it at 10-12 crore. You want to reach that exit quickly. Now you won't reach that quickly if you keep moving around instead of trying to look inside.
So where does passion fall into this? Because in a scenario like this, for you to get hired, your intelligence play a very important role. But then later on, when you're getting promoted, does passion even come into picture? I'm trying to understand the EQ quotient here.
देखो इस पे काफी research हुआ है. So now we know works of Daniel Goleman, etc. At an entry level, IQ is still important. IQ as an ability to see patterns, as an ability to separate the symptom from the real problem, which is why most standardized assessments across the world, whether GRE, GMAT, CAT, MAT in India, would have some measure of aptitude. As you go up, then human skills, EQ is a human skill, becomes important. Maybe after 5-6 years. So you could be very hardworking and reasonably smart, which will be perhaps sufficient for the first 5 years. Uske baad, and now, what is EQ? EQ is a big word, but what is it? Let's just go with Daniel Goleman's definition. Self-awareness. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Self-regulation, discipline, self-motivation. Going above and beyond, not because of extrinsic rewards, but because of my personal this is what appeals to me, and so on. So these are aspects. Networking, by the way, social networking. Daniel Goleman was pretty criticized about it, that how can you say networking is a core skill? But it is indeed, because your ability to find win-win partnership with people around you. So now those skill sets are not taught in a school. They are not taught at the campus. And no wonder campus prepares you perhaps just to get into the company, get a seat on the table, but not beyond, which is where something like timeless skills will help.
So coming to the timeless skills, okay, we are talking about the individual skills that you have mentioned in the book. If there are like just 1 or 2 skills that no matter what, if you do not pick up anything else, it's still fine, you can still survive. But if there are 1 or 2 out of your skills, like your clarity, your everything that you're talking about, collaboration, what are those, like the most important 2 skills?
देखो ये Nescafe 2 minute वाला culture है. अगर 2 skill होती तो फिर 7 क्यों लिखते हैं? तो there are, it's a rainbow, it's a rainbow of
so what should we prioritize? Because I don't think in a day you
all
can...
7. What do you prioritize? I mean, लियो टॉल्स्टॉय से पूछा गया, what makes a happy marriage?
Yeah.
Somebody 27 years
Yeah.
of marriage. It's a rainbow. Is having minimum wealth important? Of course, it's
Yes.
important. But is it enough? No.
Yeah.
Is emotional? Of course. Physical intimacy? Of course. Good kids? Of course.
Yeah.
Health? Of course. अब इसमें से अगर एक भी चीज नहीं है, it can put a lot of strains on your relationship. अब ये कहना कि बस एक चीज है, is that enough? It will usually not be enough. So, which is why, if you, for example, Stephen Covey, my teacher way back, the 7 habits of highly effective people. He could have written 1 habit of highly effective people. But how did we arrive at these?
Yeah.
So in the company I was president in, large listed pharmaceutical company, we actually saw that people who were very good middle management, we used to call them the leadership rare, were not making the cut to the top 10, the CXO, the management council. And every time there was a resignation in the management council, we were hiring people from outside.
Yeah.
CFO left, we got a CFO from outside and so on. Why were the people who were with us for 10 years doing very well at this level not make the cut for this level?
Yeah.
So I put up my hand, I said, let's try to do something about it. And we went with some external advisors. We tried to interviewed a lot of people. Ki bhai, all of us are saying this person is great as a finance senior manager, finance vice president. Then why do we not think this person is ready for the CXO?
Yeah.
And those incremental elements that we kept hearing time in, time out, इसमें ये factor नहीं है, ये factor नहीं है, those were collated for actually a workshop given to those people, given to those next 100 employees. In the first round, I delivered the training myself. Last Friday of every month, 3 hours workshop. And some of the feedback is there. The feedback from HR is there. The feedback from the CEO of that time was there. All these people started getting promoted. The feedback on the workshop was not just one of the highest, so I'm being modest, the highest rated workshop of a 93% NPS score. One of my friends moved out to another company and said, you've proven it here, prove it in my company, Landmark. We did it there. Again, became one of the highest rated workshops there. Somebody told Penguin and they commissioned, why don't you write the book on this? So this is coming out of an empirical research and an experiment, the workshop, where we found that all those 7, if you exhibit those, chances are higher that you will rise higher.
Okay. How can one assess oneself for these?
हाँ, तो ये जो first thing I think सबको 360 degree, like we said, people are blind to their own blind spots, right? वो क्या था, गालिब कहते थे, उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करता रहा. You keep saying, I mean, even now when I give feedback to people, अरे वो मेरा manager, I was in Hyderabad 2 days before, and we had this manager who, there was some brilliant guy, very target oriented, but certain things needed to improve. You keep giving that person the feedback, that person will keep giving you why he's right and everyone else is wrong. Oh, that guy who said this, uska ye problem tha. Oh, we don't accept that feedback, and all of us have been there. It could be told, when I was a rising manager at my first employer, I was a good performer, generally the top rated performer. 1 year my rating was not very good. It was it came out average, and that was the year where my business results were actually pretty strong. The CEO himself of the India organization, he took me aside and he said, you have some rough edges that are making collaboration difficult.
Okay.
And just to let you know that it's not just the results, but also the how of results. Just to drive that message, we are giving you an average rating this year.
Wow.
Can you guess how I would react? I
was just about to ask, how did you react?
I was like, अरे सब बुद्धे लोग हैं, इनको नहीं आता है, मैं छोड़ दूंगा company, I will leave this organization, somebody else will give a better. All those guys who cribbed were cribbers. You think about it, you sleep over it, don't react the first day.
Yeah.
After 2-3 days, I started calling around, called my wife.
Yeah.
Sometimes do you feel I get very obstinate, very stubborn?
Yeah.
There was silence on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what that means, that yes, I agree, but I'm being polite to you. And then after 2-3 days, the reality started sinking in that hai wo kami. I have many strengths, but ye hai kami.
Yeah.
And then I went to this manager and said that, give me 6 to 9 months, you will see a change.
Okay.
I'm telling you the story, that means things worked out well for me. Asia भर में coaching survey score होता था. So next year I got the highest rate in score. I mean, I worked on the blind spots. And then very soon I got promoted to a CFO position also. The point is, if I had not worked on that, everything inside me was tempting me to say, let me resign. And there were 10 other jobs which I will get. But then this blind spot would have remained a blind spot, and I would never have become a CEO.
Interesting. So coming back to my question, the reason why I asked the question of how do one identify what skills am I good at, again coming back to the scenario where the big majority of people like me and a lot of people around me who do not work in bigger organizations where there is a structure. And today, if you look at the bigger majority in India, there is more than 80% of people who are working in sole proprietorships, what we call as Zalala companies, or individual startups or freelancers, because now it's a freelancer boom society that we are talking about. But then a lot of the skills within the books, collaboration, working with others, networking, all of these things are important even to a freelancer, because that's how they are working well in whatever that they're. It could be a designer, it could be a creator, it could be I don't know, whatever the company is. They do not have anybody to guide them. They do not have a system where they can literally ask. I can ask my friends, but my friends are going to be biased. They are not going to help me. They'll be my shoulder if I want to cry, but professionally, I don't think that's the people that I can.
So how do you develop your question?
How do we? So how do we assess and identify
assess and then develop? So assess 360. Get a confidential 360 in your company. Confidential. जैसे आपने बोला, friends will. I then question the loyalty of the friend if that person is just doing mollycoddling for you. That person is also supposed to be your mirror. That person is also supposed to give you transparently where you're going wrong. First, get some people who you trust. Okay. Where there is no ego boundary. कि अगर वो feedback देगा तो आपका फिर then you don't get into an emotional tailspin. And then get a formal feedback from these people, जिसकी competency भी आप trust करती हैं, जिसका character भी आप trust करती हैं, और उनसे आप writing में हर साल में एक बार feedback लीजिए. In a way that they don't feel defensive, they don't have to say that, it's confidential, 4-5 लोग हैं. So in all the 360-degree feedback, generally 10-12 लोग ऐसा feedback देते हैं. You will get to know a lot from that. Consistently, year on year, you will hear consistent themes, common themes. Then you know कहाँ पे गड़बड़ है. तो वो पता लगाना अगर आप चाहो, there needs to be a genuine interest in improving. I don't think that will be a problem. Your manager will tell you, manager's manager will tell you, if you ask the right way. Now, if the manager starts feeling, if I tell this person will be upset, and then I have becomes a crybaby, then the person will not say that, right? Yeah, true. You have to, by the way, you have to find those 2-3 people. They may be mentors. You have to find those 2-3 people. You know, sometimes, digressing a bit, sometimes we romanticize love a lot, but love की psychologist definition है collapse of ego boundary. मतलब हमारे आपके बीच कोई ego boundary नहीं है. आप कुछ बोलेंगे तो मुझे बुरा नहीं लगेगा. I won't get defensive about it. So you have to find those loving relations to some people. Yeah.
Okay. Now, completely switching the topic. Your book also talks about the Western leadership models and India. And you've been with international companies, you've been in different roles. Are there skill sets that might work really well in a Western nation, but when you try to apply it to the Indian ecosystem, fails miserably?
Yeah. most cultures
Yeah.
have their nuances.
Yeah.
There's something called Hofstede Index,
Yeah.
and you should see India and the Western, meaning the US, and very different in the respect for authority, taking people along, very, very different. So if you try blindly to just follow that, it may not work. Sometimes a typical Westerner could be seen too aggressive and too less concerned about the employees' families and the employees' well-being, because they will say, we are here for getting work done. And then, I mean, interestingly, there's this practice I've followed, as an example of this practice I've been following, where all the top performers, I send a letter to their parents offering them a free dinner with the family, because they have a, if a performer is working hard, etc., the family also takes a bit of a brunt. The guy is working extra hours, the stress. So just as a small token of our appreciation, we sponsor this dinner where the father or the mother or the wife or the kid can go out for dinner. A big hit in most Eastern countries, a very big hit in Philippines, in Indonesia, and of course in India and Pakistan. Everyone loves it. You उनकी तारीफ उनकी family के सामने कर दो, वो और भी खुश हो जाते हैं. When they get a letter, when their parents get a letter saying that your son is the top 5% in our company, the parents are very, very happy. They take this letter to 10 with. When we ask the same to be applied in some of our European countries, and I asked the HR there to see if this is worth reapplying. For example, in France, they said, no, why would I allow you to write to my family? That's different. This is work, that's family. How can you? So there are these important nuances. Nothing is right or wrong. They are just different. And unless we understand those nuances, unless we adapt to them, what succeeded there will not succeed here.
Interesting. I just had a deja vu. So something happened a few years ago in the company that I was working in. I didn't know, but my parents got a letter from the company telling about with the group picture and all of that. Seeing the success of something like that and because the company also used to do the happiness index, so seeing a huge difference that these kind of gestures made, while it is a French company, the company tried to adapt it into other places, which failed miserably.
Of course.
It didn't work at all.
Yeah.
So the culture actually plays a very huge, important role. Now coming back to the people sitting in the CXO positions or a CEO. Let's talk about being a CEO, because you've been one.
Yeah.
And there is a general belief that the CEO has everything sorted out. He understands everything. He can solve everything. This person can, no matter what, it's put together and done. What is the biggest misconception or biggest misunderstanding that people fantasize about being a CEO?
Let's talk about the world's biggest CEO, the richest man, Elon Musk. He was asked, and he said, you don't want to be me. Because his partner was saying that he wakes up at 2 a.m. trying to crawl his way back up as if he was drowning in sleep. His personal life would be very, very miserable. So much stress, so many different things to worry about. So many monks now, I was reading this book by this Korean guy who's, many successful people are still unable to get a successful sleep every night. And then you question what kind of success is it. So no, people don't have things sorted out. In many cases, it's just being at the right place at the right time. That said, generally, people who are a little more successful than others typically would have a little more clarity of thought versus others. What are the things that are most important? Would be a little more disciplined than other people. A little more disciplined, matlab, if these are the most important things, they must never be at the mercy of things that matter less. Let me focus on them first. Much more regulated. Perhaps a little more aware. Now, all that said, it's like height in basketball. Generally, the taller you would become. That doesn't mean all tall people will play great basketball. So everyone has their blind spot, and so have people senior up. But ये 3-4 चीजें आपको दिखेंगी उनमें. शायद थोड़ा further than others.
Got it. So I like it how you told about the awareness and clarity of thoughts. Is there a pattern when people start getting promoted? Now, one after the other, they could still make mistakes, right? Is there a general pattern in the type of mistake that people make after their very first big promotion? It could be...
Yeah. They keep doing their old job. So let's say there is a great salesperson we promoted to a sales manager.
Okay.
That person has gone to clients and cracked deals and got good results.
Yeah.
The first time he sees some other sales manager under him as a manager,
Yeah.
अरे तुम नहीं कर पाते हो मैं करता हूँ ये. अब इसमें दो प्रॉब्लम हुई. This person at the sales manager is paid to do much bigger stuff, which is why his salary is now double of the previous guy, but he's still doing the previous guy's job. So he will be a failure as a sales manager. The salesperson who's never coming up to the level of his former self, वो भी demotivate हो गया. जिसको आपको motivate करना है उसको भी आपने demotivate किया. Because obviously you were one of the top sales individual performer, which is why you got promoted.
Yeah.
But now you have to make other great sales individual performers, but you end up demotivating them.
Yeah.
So people don't let go of their former jobs, and therefore don't get enough time for the real new job that they have to do.
Wow, interesting. Okay, so when you started growing in your career, you also started somewhere, right? At some point when you started taking bigger roles, bigger titles, bigger companies, was there any feedback that was coming back to you consistently, irrespective of the growth? I'm not asking what the feedback is, but something that you were struggling to work on. How did you work on it? Because today you're sitting somewhere means you have worked on it. Like you just use that sentence. But how did you find, I don't know, should we tell it like the courage to work on it, or the determination to work on it, or literally keeping the ego aside and deciding, no, I need to get this sorted? So I'm not asking what the mistake would be, but how did you work around it?
Yeah, it takes an arm and a leg. It's not that easy. It takes time. It takes patience. When I start thinking, okay, now I've solved it, by the time the organization notices, it's another 6 to 9 months, and that will be a very frustrating period where you think you don't have it, another step. All the justifications why you are right and others are wrong keep coming back to haunt you.
Of course.
So it's not easy. But there is no shortcut. It's you have to show up every day. You have to say, this is a resolve I will do. Just take any behavioral stuff. People who give up drinking, it's the same effort that they have to put in there. My daughter just became a vegan. It's the same effort she has to do there. She believes in it, and every time. So I think if you start looking at who you really want to be, in 3 years, this is where I want to be, then all of these start becoming easy. The challenge will be that intellectually you will accept it. But multiple brain theory, a part of you would not have accepted it. We are not one thinking individual. There are many shades in our lives. I see the sea in all its mood. I see myself. You're sometimes angry, you're sometimes patient, sometimes calm. Just making sure that under most stressful situation, the worst part of you, which is inside you, the dark passenger inside you, the worst external situation, that doesn't get unleashed. That just takes a lot of discipline, a lot of patience.
Talking about different shades and the dark passenger, where does laziness and procrastination comes into picture? I mean, do you feel that, or is it like you trained yourselves to go beyond
देखो
that?
laziness या procrastination की definition है excess.
Mm.
So yeah, most weekends, I mean, I work 12 hours a day, and so
Yeah.
most weekends I binge on Netflix.
Okay.
Lucifer is my favorite.
Uh-huh.
But then that to me is my relaxation, and then next Monday to Friday I'm back to work. So to some people that may be laziness, sitting on a couch and just watching Netflix. But वो excess कब होगा? आपकी जो the question you have to ask yourself is, are your core priorities getting hit, getting sidelined?
Yeah.
As long as that direction is not there, some amount of fun, some amount of laziness, some amount of rest is very good. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I like adventure sport. I fly a small plane. I like bungee jumping, shark cage diving.
Oh, really?
I think,
wow.
yeah. Snake handling. I've done a course snake handler. Holding a cobra by the tail. All of that is good for me. I mean, I enjoy that as long as it makes me more alive. Writing a book, in many circles, in the private equity circles, etc., it's not considered like this is a distraction. You're too academic. Why would you do that? It's a part of me. A part of me wants to teach, a part of me wants to write, a part of me wants to be a great CEO, a part of me definitely wants to be a great husband and father. All of these are important parts of me. I would cut off large parts of me if I don't do those. So sab kariye. Puri full drink life to the lees. Sab kariye, lekin jo core priorities hai, wo sideline na ho.
Interesting. Okay, because of the considering that we also have time shortage. One last question from my end. Looking back to your entire journey, from the time you finished your college, you started working, the first growth, the first promotion, the first salary hike, and till today, going back, what is that one skill or let's say a quality that you always held on to really tight because you feel that's what got you through more than anything else?
Me personally?
I'm not talking about the professional bit here, because to be a professional, to grow in a career, your personality or your person you are is important.
There is indeed, in my selfish opinion, in my humble opinion, balance.
Okay.
In fact, that was one skill I did not find in all the books I had read. And that's why it's one of the skill sets in the book. I think it's very original. Balance is where you cannot maximize on one vector. If you start, you'll put it in AI and the computer will do it for you. Human life requires balancing short-term results, long-term results, because short-term results will ensure accountability, long-term results will ensure health. Work and life. Work नहीं करोगे तो impact कैसे होगा? Work नहीं करोगे तो rewards कैसे आएंगे? But at the same time, family नहीं होगा तो it will be very short term. Then you will reach somewhere and you will look around and you will say there's no loved one around you. तो हर ही चीज में एक balance होगा. आपको employees को coach करना है, guide करना है, inspire करना है, also correct करना है. Also, my job is not to be there. It's not a sorority. I have to take some hard calls at times.
True.
But balancing those hard calls with the soft human touch, and at what stage you become too soft or too harsh. So in real life, most success is about finding balances. Too academic, and then you will be an armchair theoretician, and everyone would love listening to you, but at the month end, you have nothing to show. Too operational, and then you're not suited for high offices, you can't strategize. So at every stage, you have to find that balance between the yin and yang. I think not enough has been said about it. I do think that is something I would call as a strength.
Interesting. I'm a Libra, so I understand balance. Thank you so much.
And I believed in the health sciences, so I don't believe in astrology.
It's okay.
Okay.
Whatever works for each of us. Okay. So I'm not going to ask. I have literally so many questions still, but then I'm literally, for the sake of time, I'm going to stop that. But I would want to still continue with a quick rapid fire that
okay.
I've created for you.
Chalo,
And
bhai.
you know the rules. I don't have to explain them. So you're going to start with one habit every young professional should build.
Keep learning.
Interesting.
See that you are better 3 months later than you were 3 months before.
That's nice. Okay, thank you. One leadership myth people should stop believing.
The myth is that leadership is about aggression and super confidence and telling everyone what to do. It's the world of servant leadership. It's the world of quiet, where thinking, taking everyone along, being humble carries you much further.
Nice. I like that. One book that every manager must read.
Not my book.
You tell me.
The Leadership Pipeline, Ram Charan. Not my book. You should, if you have to read only one book, read Ram Charan's Leadership Pipeline.
Interesting. Good suggestion. One skill that's impossible to outsource.
All human skills, dealing with humans, respecting them, motivating them, inspiring them, coaching them, very difficult to outsource.
Yeah, nice. I like that answer. Okay, quick yes choices. Promotion or purpose?
Purpose.
Success?
Purpose. Also because following your purpose over the long run will get you promoted in life, which is much more important.
All right. So I'm skipping my next question, which was success or significance.
Always significance.
Yeah.
but I don't think there is a dichotomy. If you do something significant, in your own eyes, by definition, you are successful.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, when Stephen Covey was writing this book, 7 Habits, he told me there's a lot of discussion. Should he call it 7 Habits? Highly effective people, successful people, rich people? And he says all the other things denote a material success, which
Just
is
about
what
to say. Yeah.
Effective is. What did you want to do?
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
That's effectiveness. That choice is yours. That vision is yours.
Yeah, true. And one last question. If you could leave every professional with one sentence, that's your final message as well, what could it be?
Keep learning.
I think that's a beautiful message to go back to with everybody.
Johnny Walker says, keep walking, keep drinking, maybe also keep learning.
Yeah. I keep telling, keep reading. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Nishant. This has been a great conversation. I really wish there was more time because whatever you're trying to teach in your big full-fledged workshop, you've tried to consolidate into a book so that the mass audience can easily pick it up. Amazing book. I got a lot of things that I could pick up from here. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for taking your time out. And to everybody who's watching, I hope at least there's something that they've got an answer to. My reason for wanting to ask a lot about smaller companies were because I work in an ecosystem where today I have a lot of people who are from smaller companies or passion projects. So that's where the relevance actually came in. But thank you so much for accommodating all of that. And I really wish our viewers got back. If you have any more questions, do check out. Do let us know in the comments once you read the book, what is the skill set that you had the bigger confidence with? What is it that you're working on currently? We would love to know more because I think that's a way to understand the concepts also way better. Thank you so much and see you back with another episode. The next show by Naghma